a Ukrainian Su-27 drops GBU-62 bombs to destroy a Russian command post along with assault groups on the Karkiv front. After tracking Russian movements for over a day, the building, packed with troops and gear, was obliterated. As of May 3, 2025, the situation around Vovchansk in the Karkiv region remains highly volatile, with ongoing clashes between Ukrainian and Russian forces. Russian troops have been attempting to advance into Vovchansk from multiple directions. However, Ukrainian forces have successfully repelled these assaults, particularly preventing Russian units from crossing the Vovcha River, which currently serves as a natural defensive line within the city. All Russian attempts to cross the river have been thwarted, resulting in significant losses for the attacking forces. Russian forces are increasingly using motorcycles to quickly bypass zones targeted by Ukrainian drones and artillery. Border Guard Brigade Pomsta destroyed one such assault group near Kupiansk, eliminating 10 motorcycles, 2 ATVs, and 8 Russian troops. Russian forces have increasingly incorporated motorcycles into their frontline tactics in Ukraine, aiming to enhance mobility and reduce vulnerability to drone strikes. This shift is partly due to significant losses of armored vehicles, prompting the use of motorcycles and other light vehicles like ATVs and buggies. These vehicles offer speed and maneuverability, allowing troops to approach Ukrainian positions more swiftly. However, their lack of protection makes them susceptible to Ukrainian drones and artillery. For instance, during an assault near Vuhledar in June 2024, Ukrainian forces destroyed 19 Russian motorcycles in a single engagement. In the Russian-destroyed Bakhmut, occupiers prep for May 9th, hanging Russian and Soviet flags on ruins. Footage shows a festive vibe in the empty city, with only soldiers left. J.D. Vance at it again, parroting Trump's line with zero mention of Ukraine's sovereignty. Just defeatist noise about how both sides need to decide. The war in Ukraine won't end anytime soon. Russia and Ukraine must make that decision, he said. No word on who invaded whom.
The president was in the Vatican, had this iconic image talking to Volodymyr Zelensky in those 2 chairs and huddled down. A much different scene than when he was last in the White House, as you well know. Where do you see that? Is that going to come to fruition?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to give the president some credit here because there was a really big breakthrough and hasn't gotten that much coverage. But for 3 years, these sides have fought. And each of them has said, no peace, we're going to fight until the other guy is basically knocked out. What we've seen now in the last couple of weeks is each side has put down, this is our peace proposal. The Ukrainians did it, the Russians did it. And now I think the question is to see whether we can actually find some middle ground here for these guys to bring this conflict to a close. I really don't believe that any person, the 8 billion people in the world, I don't think anybody could have gotten this deal done other than Donald J. Trump. When I say this deal, I mean getting these guys to actually propose a peace settlement, but it's going to be up to the Russians and the Ukrainians. Now that each side knows what the other's terms for peace are, it's going to be up to them to come to an agreement and stop this brutal, brutal conflict. It's not going anywhere, Brett. It's not going to end anytime soon. And I think for the Ukrainians, yes, of course, they're angry that they were invaded, but are we going to continue to lose thousands and thousands of soldiers over a few miles of territory this or that way? I hope both of them come to their senses. And if they do, it will be because Donald J. Trump, I think, brokered one of the great peace deals of the 21st century.
I mean, you got the minerals deal. You got that signed. So you're optimistic. Can I say optimistic?
Look, I am optimistic, but it is ultimately, it's hard to say confident because the Russians and the Ukrainians, they're the ones who have to take the final step. We got them talking. We got them offering peace proposals. We got the minerals deal done. I think we're in a place where they've got to say, we're done with the fighting. We're done with losing thousands and thousands of young people. We're done with this. But only Russia and Ukraine can make that decision. That's not something even President Trump can do for them.
Russians have started piecing together budget kamikaze drones from hoverboards, fastening them with metal frames and arming them with mines. Both Ukraine and Russia have escalated the use of kamikaze ground drones in the ongoing conflict, employing them for targeted strikes on enemy fortifications and equipment. Russian forces have tested and deployed kamikaze ground drones like the Depesha and Buggy unmanned ground vehicles. The The number of people injured in the Russian strike on Kharkiv has risen to 6, local authorities report. Russian terror continues and the U.S. keeps it unanswered. NATO chief Rutte proposes raising defense spending to 5% of GDP, up from the current 2%. His plan, 3.5% for direct defense, 1.5% for related infrastructure like cyber and transport. A move to bridge U.S. demands and European realities. Zelensky held staff meeting on brigade supply, unit manning, and Ukraine's missile program. Goal is to speed up ballistic missile production. Russia refuses lasting ceasefire. Will respond on the front and inside Russian territory. The war must be felt where it began. During a meeting of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief's staff, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky instructed to speed up the development of a Ukrainian ballistic missile as much as possible. This became known from the evening address of the President of Ukraine. Briefly about today, I held a meeting. There were reports on the supply of our brigades, on the equipment of our units. I also spoke in great detail about the Ukrainian missile program, our missile developments, and our production facilities. The task is to speed up the creation of our Ukrainian ballistics as much as possible, he stated. According to the President of Ukraine, the war should be felt where it came from. And our long-range capability is a clear and effective guarantee of security for Ukraine. In February 2022, before the start of Russia's large-scale aggression, Ukraine allocated several hundred million hryvnias for the missile industry. In particular, it was supposed to finance the creation of a domestic operational and tactical complex known as Sapsan and Hrim-2. It is known that at that time, an operational tactical missile system was being developed for two types of missiles: 900 millimeters in diameter with a range of 500 kilometers for domestic use, and 600 millimeters in diameter with a range of 280 kilometers with the prospect of export. In July 2024, the president said that Ukraine had been approaching the use of domestic ballistic missiles. In early August, it became known that the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine had allocated additional funds for the Ukrainian missile program. On August 27, 2024, Volodymyr Zelensky officially confirmed the successful test of the first domestic ballistic missile. There was a positive test of the first Ukrainian ballistic missile, the president of Ukraine said at the time. No technical details about the Ukrainian ballistic missile are currently known, but it is likely to be a continuation of the Sapsan/Hrim-2 project. In April 2025, Minister of Strategic Industries Herman Smetanin said that production volumes had already ensured the regular use of the domestic ballistic missile and the Long Neptune.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.